Welcome back to Yellow Cottage Soapery. I'm starting to make my Christmas soaps and I thought I would show you guys how I'm making some embeds for the soap. So I am making these little Christmas trees to go on the top of a soap. It's also going to have these little light bulbs in red and then a gold color. Now I've already done some of the red, so I'll show you those. They have these ones that already have the gold on the tip, and these ones I just have to paint a little bit of mica on it, and I'll show you how I do that. And then I'm also going to have this white melt and pour. It's shea butter melt and pour. I'm going to use that with some pearlescent white mica, and I'm going to make these snowflakes. There's only 2 on this tray, and then these snowflakes with the white. And these are the Christmas tree molds. I only have 2 of them, so it takes a while. You can see these are huge. I think you can make candles and everything with them. So I only pour it part way in the bottom just to get a smaller tree to put on there. So I'm just going to show you how I do that. So first of all, let's do the trees. Move that out of the way. We're just going to cut a little bit of this melt and pour and add some color and some fragrance to it. Now, I try to cut these kind of relatively the same size so they melt fairly evenly in the microwave. If you can't get them, you know, just do the best you can. I only need a couple more trees, so probably I'm not going to make a huge amount of the green. So you do this and then you put it in the microwave. It says 30-second increments and then stir in between, but that really depends on how much you have in your container. Sometimes you don't need to do it that long, but you don't want to overheat it. It turns kind of a weird texture if you do that. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of Frasier Fir fragrance oil to this. Okay. Then I'm going to add some, you can add the colorant before or after you put it in the microwave. It really doesn't matter which way you do it. So I have Snake Island mica, this really dark forest green color. I'm going to put a little bit of that in there. And I also have this is High Society. These are both Nurture Soap Supply. And there is a link in the description box if you were interested in purchasing any of these micas. I do get a small amount of commission for that. I'm going to get a little bit more of that, and then I'm going to mix it up and I'll be right back. Okay, this took about 20 seconds in the microwave, so it doesn't take very long. And now I'm just going to stir it around, decide if I need to add any more. It's so pretty. It's like a beautiful fluorescent, is that a word? I think it is. Okay. So we're all mixed up. I don't think I need to add any more. This is very similar to the other trees, the color. So we're gonna go with this. And we're just gonna go ahead and take these 2 molds. They kind of suction to things a little bit. They're wiggly. Stop wiggling. Okay. So we're gonna pour in right about, I just kind of eyeball it because I can always cut it off if it's too tall. And you can remelt that, whatever you cut off, you can remelt it. Now I take a little bit of rubbing alcohol and I squirt it in there and it gets any bubbles out. Okay, so I'm just going to set these aside over here so they can get firm. Depends on how long or how big the mold is. These will probably take about 10 or 15 minutes before I can unmold them. But what you can do is put them in the freezer and they'll be ready quicker, which is what I've been doing since I only have 2 of those molds, just to speed it along. Okay, so that's how I make the trees. Now I'll show you what I'm going to do to make these little light bulbs. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of rubbing alcohol. Will end up dissipating. So I'm going to paint these with the mica. I have Maya Gold from Nurture Soap Supply. I don't want a ton of this because it's kind of a brassy gold, but I also have this beautiful gold. It's called Sparkle Sunshine, and it's more of a glitter. But I'm going to add that in there too to make these really shiny. All right, we're just going to blend this up and see. I want to make sure I have enough color in there where it's not going to be watery. So I'm going to add a little bit more. I need it to make sure it shows up. All right, so you just blend that all in with a little bit of alcohol. You can use vodka too, that works if you have vodka. And then I'm just going to take my little brush right here. These are quite tiny, but let's see if I have enough in here. I might have to add a little bit more. And then I'm just going to, first of all, these are so tiny and I have gloves on, so it's not easy. and they're slippery. I'm just gonna take these and do that. Now you can see that it's not dark enough. It doesn't show up enough. So we're gonna add a little bit more of the gold and more of the sparkle. And we will try again. I think it's gonna be easier if I leave them laying instead of trying to pick them up. So I hope you can see. So this is just to give the illusion it looks like a real Christmas bulb. Just do all of these and it will dry like this. Okay, I won't bore you with all of this right now. I just wanted to show you how I do this. These ones I actually poured gold into the mold. It was kind of a pain to do, so I decided to do it this way. Now I also want to make some gold light bulbs. So I'm going to set this aside and I'll finish those off camera. But what I want to do is melt a little bit so we can make some gold light bulbs. I have to get a little bit more. So we have a little bit more clear melt and pour. I'm just going to cut up a little bit of it. I'm not going to need a ton, but I do need to do about three different times. I need to fill these at least to get enough to put on the top of the soap. So I always just kind of eyeball it. I think that's really the only way you can do it. And if I ever have extra, I pour it in a little round mold and I save it. So if I need green again or gold again, then I can just melt it down again. All right, that should be good. So we're gonna add this Maya Gold mica to this. And so these I'm not gonna have to do the ends any different. I'm just gonna do them solid gold. Okay, I don't really worry about end fragrance because this is so tiny. I'm gonna melt this, I'll be right back. This was about 15 seconds it took to melt this. Stir it up and see, make sure that it's all blended in, that you don't see any pieces of the mica in there. You can add a little fragrance to this if you'd like, but since I did it for the trees and I'm going to be doing it in the actual soap, I feel like I'm good with just pouring these. So you can see the gold sparkle in there. A lot of times I'll put these in, I'm going to do it this way. It's easier. I'll use a pipette and I'll just fill them. You can pour them if you have a steady hand. Sometimes I pour them. Sometimes it's just easier to do this. Okay, then just squirt it with a little rubbing alcohol, so if there's any bubbles, that will take care of that. I'll set that aside. I can melt that again and do more once these are dried and I'm able to pop them out. Okay, the last thing I'm going to show you is white melt and pour. I'm just going to cut some pieces of this. I have to make several of these, so I will probably be cutting up a lot. I may just cut a little for right now so it doesn't take as long to melt, so I can show you guys that. And then I have to get making this soap. So these are actually for two different soaps. The Christmas tree and the light bulbs are for one soap. And this is for another one. So I've got these two really pretty powders. One is a sparkling white and then one is like a blue pearl. So I'm going to add these in just to give the snowflakes some sparkle. And the melt and pour is already white, so you don't need a ton of that. This is mostly to add sparkle. All right, I'm gonna melt this down and I'll be right back to pour. Okay, here we go. Let's stir this up. I think I'm gonna have to add some more of the sparkle. You can see it. I just want you to be able to really see it. I also get to do a little, I think I'm gonna do a little bit of a dusting of the mica powder on top of the Christmas trees. I think that would be pretty. What do we think? Let me see, maybe a little bit more of, we want sparkle. All right, that looks pretty good. All right, now this soap is gonna be called Snowflakes and Cashmere. It is a, I think, Bath & Body Works dupe. I'm not 100% positive, but it is a dupe of something. And I will talk about that when I make the video. So we're just gonna add in some fragrance here. The other one was like Frasier Fir, Balsam, and Cedar. My absolute favorite is the one I'm doing with the Christmas trees. All right, so let's just set these up here just to make it easier to pour them. And unfortunately, there's only 2 snowflakes on this, so that's gonna take a while for me to make those. All right, we're just gonna pour this one. Pour that one. And then these are quite little, so I'm just gonna try to do it carefully and see how they come out. I know it's probably hard to see because it's white. You can get these molds. I think I got them on Amazon, and I will try to remember to go on and put them in on my Amazon storefront in case you guys want them. Okay, now we're just gonna do a little bit of alcohol and then leave those to dry. And I will be back to make the Christmas tree soap in a few minutes. Today I am making the first of my holiday soaps. This is going to be scented with a blend of Frasier Fir, Balsam, and Cedar. And I'm going to be using a couple different green colors. I really like the Snake Island, but I thought I wanted it maybe a little shade lighter. So this is Snake Island from MadMicas, and this is High Society by Nurture Soap. And then Maya Gold is from Nurture Soap, and Really Red is from Nurture Soap. Now with red micas, you have to be really careful because if you use too much of it, it will bleed onto like a white washcloth. So that I have found that particular mica is a really good red and it doesn't bleed. So you can find the links in the description below where you can purchase those, MadMicas or Nurture Soap. So I'm gonna be straining my lye solution because there's a little bit of lye in there, not much. My kaolin clay is already in the bottom, so I'm going to quick blend that up. I have some embeds to put on the top. I'll show you guys those in a second. Okay, so I'm going to be putting these adorable Christmas trees on the top. I did a video, I think it will be attached to the beginning of this one, showing how I made these little trees. And then I also made these little light bulbs. I ended up painting a little bit of mica on the top of them to make them look more like a light bulb. So those will be going on the top as well to match the colors on the inside of the soap. Now I don't want a ton of gold, so I'm just going to use a little bit and then red and green, and then the base will be white. So right now we're going to strain our solution. It's still a little bit warm. I measured it this morning and I thought for sure it would be completely cooled by now. But it's still a little warm, which is okay. Now, I get Lyland. I know I've had a lot of questions about it because I do a steep water discount, meaning the amount of water to lye ratio, discount the water a lot. And what that does is it can make your soap set up faster when you're soaping. So you gotta know kind of what fragrance you're using in order to do it because you don't have as much time if you do a water discount. But it also helps the soap firm up and go through cure a lot better, faster if you do a water discount. But that's the reason you get a little bit of lye lint. But it blends out in here perfectly fine. All right, you can see, hopefully you can see there's like a trace of oil on the top still. That means this is not completely blended. We are not at trace yet. Trace is when the oils and the butters and the lye solution all blend together, and you can see it'll get all creamy and there won't be like a light oil on the top of it. And you can stop at any point here once you see it's blended. It depends on if you have a fragrance that's difficult to work with and you need more time, you don't want to blend that as much. This here, let's go ahead and do our colors. This is going to be white. I guess, I can't believe I just did that without pouring my colors first. Ugh, I haven't soaped in like 2 weeks, can you tell? All right, this is going to be the gold. Green or white, or green or red. All right, well hopefully not a lot of the white got in there. How did the red get all over that? Ugh. Isn't that a gorgeous red? It is absolutely the prettiest, truest red I've ever seen. It's called Really Red, and I love it because it is a beautiful Christmas red. See, that red will get everywhere. It will make the biggest mess, and it's so hard to get it off everything. I don't know what it is about it because it's so pigmented. Isn't that beautiful? These look pretty much like the trees, so they pretty much match, which was what I was going for. Okay. This is still really good, nice to work with. We haven't added the fragrance, which is what we're gonna do now. I just like to scrape the sides and make sure that I got red on my gloves, so it's getting everywhere. Oh wow, okay. All right, this wants to discolor a little bit, just a tiny bit. It looked like it was gonna turn a little bit yellow, then it kind of turned back, so I think we're good. This is a pretty white. Now we're still pretty fluid, so we have a lot of options as far as pouring goes. The more fluid your batter is, the more design time you have. This is one of my husband's favorite fragrances, so I've used it many times, or blends of it. This one I blended myself with 3 different woodsy scents, tree scents. Beautiful red. Now with red, you really do need to mix it a little bit more because it tends to, not all of the pigment will get blended sometimes, but I don't want to stick blend it too much because then it'll thicken before these do. I am going to save a little bit of the piping for the top, a little bit of the white, I think. I love this green too. It's like, what are those? Are they like a blue evergreen tree or something like that, where they have a little hint of, I don't know, it's just like a darker green. Okay, we already did this, so we're ready to start pouring. Get everything out of the way so I can bring in my mold. I have my hanger tool because I'm planning on doing a hanger swirl of some sort. We're gonna go ahead and pour. I'm gonna start with the white. I do want to save some to pipe on the top. Look how rich and creamy that is. I've started adding cocoa butter, more cocoa butter to my formula, and I can definitely see a difference in how rich and creamy. Start with red. Oh, my phone, or my battery for my camera died. The thing came unplugged, so I had to quickly fix that. Okay, so right back to what we're doing. And if you want to your soap to go deeper, just hold it higher. Now I don't want any color for the top, so I'm going to use all of this red. I'm actually going to save a little bit of the green because I think I might make a few sample soaps. I wish I would have saved a little bit more of the red, but that's okay. I wasn't thinking about it at the time. Okay, so I'm going to put the rest in a piping bag to pipe when it's ready, and I'm going to clean these out, and I'm going to put them in these. I got these little molds, and I figured I would use them for samples. So I'll do that real quick while you guys are watching. I don't know how much to save for the piping. Let me do that first. Okay, I have a tip, Wilton tip 1M, and star tip. And I'm going to put what I think I would need in here. I'm going to twist this first so that and put it upright so that hopefully the soap won't come out since it is still a little bit fluid. I'm gonna kind of guesstimate here what I think I need. I'm just gonna do some pretty dollops on the top. This is gonna sit over here to the side until I'm ready for it. So right now, put these in. Put them on this little tray. You know what? I didn't even do a hanger swirl. I forgot to do a hanger swirl in the soap. Hold on. I guess I don't have to. I think the drop swirl would be pretty. Should I or shouldn't I? I want to swirl it just a little bit. I'm running out of room here. Hold on. I'm just going to do a little bit of swirling. I have a mess here because I have stuff here for melt and pour, embeds, all of this. I got a mess. This can go back there. This is going to be hard because these are so small. Gosh, what am I doing here? And it's starting to thicken. Okay, this one I'm going to do. I know I'm not going to need 2 molds. I don't know why I grabbed 2. I'm not going to have enough for that. I'm just going to put it in the ones here in the first couple rows. I don't know if you guys can see or not. If you can't, I'm sorry. Because what I'm really doing is making a mess. That's what I do. I make messes. Okay, I'll save a little bit of that. I forgot about it, saving any of the red, so I'm just gonna get out what I can, which isn't gonna be much. I don't even know if you're gonna see this because I'm probably gonna have to put more white on the top. Okay, we're finally back to pipe. I ended up putting some of the white in here, if you can see, to make more samples because I didn't want to use all of it on top here. I want to be able for this to fit through my splitter, my log splitter. So I'm going to do very just small dollops. I don't want to raise the height on this too much. And I feel like even by doing this, I'm going to run out. So I think I'm just going to... I'll just do this and then I'll swirl it a little bit because I don't think I'm gonna have enough to go do the whole thing. Otherwise it was gonna be too tall, like I ran into when I did my ghost soap. So this really didn't need to be in a piping bag, but that's okay because when you're making soap, things change. You kind of have to go with the flow. Now I'm just going to kind of swirl it around a little bit just to kind of make a background so that the trees show up. It's okay if there's a little color peeking through. I guess I could have done this in the beginning, but it's going to be totally fine. Normally when I do this, I leave a little tiny slide piece where I can cut samples from, but with the way I'm doing the larger embeds, I found that I need to use the whole thing for the full-size bars, so that's why I was trying to make a little bit of the samples, even though some are just white. All right, I'm gonna tap this down. It's gonna be loud, so. These trees. The next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a little bit of this mica powder and put it in here, and I'm gonna just dust it on the top of the trees. Oh. Just to make it look kind of like snow. Oh, that got carried away real quick. Okay. Alright, now I'm just going to place these little, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I wonder if I shouldn't do that. Maybe I should leave these for something else. I really don't see where I can put them where they wouldn't get caught. So I think I'll save those for something else. So then here you go. So you can see. Okay, it's been a couple of days and it's time to cut our first Christmas soap. I unmolded it and let it sit here today to harden up so I could so it would be easier to cut. So hoping these are gonna fit. I'm gonna turn it this way and do this first. All right, we're lined up. It is pretty firm already. Ooh, it's pretty inside. That's what it looks like. Okay, now we can go ahead and cut these into some bars. Sure you're lined up so you can see. Let's cut the middle one. They smell so good, you guys. Holy moly, I love them. First, I'm gonna just take this little end off. All right, let's see how this size bar looks. It's similar to the pumpkin ones I did, but these are a little bit shorter. I poured some of the soap into little molds for samples, so they're a little shorter than the other ones. But I really like them. I think they're pretty. So this is a pine, like a Frasier fir pine scent. I think this would be good to make a candle or wax melts with. I just bought some molds and some stuff to make wax. Like wax melts, I think I'm gonna do. I hope the lighting is okay. It's actually nighttime. I try to cut during the day for the lighting to be better, but I didn't get to it today. I was working with my flowers, taking cuttings. I think the swirls turned out pretty. What do you guys think? Love them. So this is the first of my Christmas soaps. I really got to get making more. I think I'm going to do a couple tomorrow. So there'll be a bunch more coming up. All right, last cut. And then I'm going to cut this little end off. Okay, there we go. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I will see you in the next video.